Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Derp your Hooves. So, it's gonna get really noisy in here really quick. And you could say, but why, Pony? And I'll tell you, because we have live traffic turned on, so... let's get going in our Cessna Skymaster out of LaGuardia and take our really quick East Coast trip from New York to New Jersey. There we go. So, I have nothing but praise for this airplane. And even though right now it is currently slightly broken.
Tower Derp Y Delta Echo Romeo Papa minus Yankee frequency change.
It's not that bad. Because it's not necessarily the plane itself that's broken. It's the GTN 750. So, I'm just going to say that, I had to set my controls for legacy mode for a different aircraft, and then I didn't realize that what was actually causing problems with the plane with the flight model, and then I changed it back. And that solved some erratic flight problems. So if all of a sudden your Skymaster is all over the place after the upgrade, check your control options and see if you have it set to legacy, and if you do, get rid of it. So, let's just set ourselves a heading, even though I have our autopilot set up. See? Autopilot. And let's trims at 5. That's fine. And let's bring our flaps up. Bring our throttle back a little bit. And we don't really need to hear her full volume. So the engines are usually pretty loud on this, but I turned them down a little bit. And again, you could see I'm flying in live player mode, which I haven't done in a while. Just because live player mode 2 actually can affect your frame rates. So just be aware of that. There's a lot of people out there who have really good video cards like mine, like the 3080 Ti, which still, by the way, is a great card. And they have great PCs that, can run this sim on some pretty good settings. But for whatever reason, and this is a constant gripe of mine, is that when you have live player mode enabled, or even all players, and you're set to some servers, it just lags the sim. So if you're ever having problems with lags and skipping frame rates and certain stuff, sometimes that's what it is. It's just that there's too many people on one server, and believe it or not, it's just your PC trying to process all this stuff, and it can't. So our pitot heat's on, everything else is on. Now, I haven't done a Skymaster video in a while, so, I've mainly been focusing on helicopters lately, because they have been the hot new product for the flight sim. Now, what you may not know is that New York City is not a helicopter-friendly city. So, there are third-party helipads you can buy, and you can even get them for free on flightsim.to. You know, I love that site. You can get so many things for free from talented developers who just, you know, give stuff away and usually ask for, you know, donation where if you like their stuff, you can, you know, contribute some cash to them through a PayPal. But I just don't think that doing any helicopter videos in New York City is going to be all that interesting because you really can't land on any buildings. So, because there's just no helipads. So, for any of you guys that are like, oh man, you know, the Bell 407 just came out and that's all I'm interested in, well, we're not going to do that today. But I'm just letting you know, there's really no buildings to land on out here. There's a couple cool little things I found, but that's for helicopter video. And you can have fun if you sneak around the city. So, here we are. I'm just going to turn my weather radar on because it does work on this. Now, some of you guys might be like, you know, I don't really like... There we go. I don't really like the Cessnas. I'm not a Cessna kind of guy. I'm not a high-wing aircraft kind of guy or kind of gal. You know, because let's be fair, you know, not just men are pilots, right? I always say guy. I don't know why that is. It's like a thing that we always do. At least I do. So, again, it's a high-wing aircraft, like a lot of Cessnas, but it's a push-pull. And this was one of Cessna's, you know, one of their best planes, actually. And although in real life the rear engine did have some problems, I heard that it used to overheat. And I guess, you know, a few owners of this airplane, you know, had to replace the rear engine. This was actually a really cool twin-engine plane. Again, with the fact that it's a push-pull, so it is a twin-engine plane. You know, just like, for example, the 310. And you may know the 310 because, you know, if you watch Jimmy's World, he was saving the 310. And we don't need landing lights after takeoff. But I guess we could put strobe lights on because we're up in the sky. So, like the 310, and a couple of other Cessna's twin-engine prop planes. This is a twin-engine. Again, it's just a push-pull. So there's an engine in the front and an engine in the rear. And, you know, planes like the 172, and this looks a lot like a 172, in a way, just because it has the standard Cessna body with the high wing. It actually has a twin boom, a lot like a P-51, with this kind of twin boom tail, because, you know, they had to put the engine in the rear. And, I mean, I'll tell you, even if you're not a fan of Cessnas, this might actually be a plane that you like. I think it beats the pants off a Bonanza, in my opinion. So, and it would be nice if we can figure out why our 750's not working today. So, we're just gonna cheat a little bit here and change our heading. Why is the heading select not on? That could be why we're flying so far off course, because we adjusted our heading, but yet we're just floating off wherever we want. So we're going to try and kind of fly a parallel heading as we fly over the very flat East Coast. And again, I had promised you, with the little boat plane that we were flying in the last video. God, I'm terrible with the names of some things. But you can watch my previous video. You know, I love that little thing. And it's not the Asobo one. You know, I had promised you, hey, you know, let's go fly around New York City. Well, or let's fly from, well, we were like on Camp Hero on Montauk Island. And it's just a really long flight at 90 knots. So I figured I'd, you know, go up in something that has a little more power. I'd say 1,300 feet is a pretty good altitude. So this thing will actually move. And you're like, but you're only flying at 130 knots. Well, the truth is I'm actually flying a lot faster than 130 knots. So again, this thing is about as fast in this sim as the Bonanza V-Tail. It's a little faster. It just depends on how you set it up. And I used to have a little bit of a mod for it to make it like the better Skymaster. But hey, you know, you're just like, Pony, you're just pushing products. Well, not really. So we're pretty much just flying. Oh, sorry. It's early in the morning for Pony. We're just pretty much flying, you know, pretty much a parallel course to what we had. Oh, and we've got a message. Set up map, set up map. Nope. And this is pretty much where we're going. We're just flying from LaGuardia to this little airport out here in New Jersey. And I mean, you can see we're already doing like, you know, 170 knots, pretty much. It says, no, it says 150. No, it's more like 170. 175. So this is, you know, a pretty fast little Cessna. And we could just turn her down all the way. And again, I set up some custom views so we can sit here and we can look out. And it's a great plane. It's, you know, this is one of the beautiful things about the high wing aircraft is you can look at the ground when the sun's out or on a full moon night versus, you know, planes like a Bonanza where the wing takes up all this real estate and then you just can't see. You know, you could take the kids on a trip and let them look out the window, put them in the cargo compartment, right? And yeah, you know, I know that I'm notorious for throwing on the autopilot so I can give you guys the, you know, third-person views of the aircraft, and I know it's a very plain livery with just kind of custom glare shield that I put on there so the sun doesn't roll off the cowl on mornings and blind me. But again, you know, I gotta say that as for Cessnas, this is definitely one of the ones I love, and it's, you know, it's got active sun visors. So if you wanted to, you know, block out the sun, you could. And, I mean, mine is the GTN 750 lately, at least the freeware version, because, again, this is one of the reasons why I'm not paying for the payware version, is just because... No, I don't want to invert the flight plan. Just because... Ugh. Nope. Put it back on GPS. And I'm not a big fan of the 530. Mainly because I don't know how to work it. So, wonderful. We're here. So, how can you not know how to work it? Well, again, I did press message. So, I'm just not a big fan of this. There we go, we're back on menu. You might say, well, why? Why, Pony? Why are you not a big fan of this? Did I just lose my... Yes, I did. There we go. Okay, so there's our magenta line. Now, you know, I am kind of a clown when I'm flying. Because right now I'm just really, you know, showing you guys some of the basics of flying. Because if you just want to learn, you know, this sim lets you kind of learn the basics. And it's great for amateur pilots like myself. And with just a little bit of time and effort, you can set the sim up however you want it. Set your planes up however you want it. And learn the basics of flight. Because, you know, again, I've said this before, in the early days of flight, there was no GPS. There was no fancy autopilots. You know, you had these wood and canvas airplanes that, you know, that were biplanes, and, you know, people had to learn how to navigate so that they could give us everything that we have today. And there's our airport up there. As we fly around New Jersey, I just want to get lower to admire some of the scenery. People say, but there's nothing good in New Jersey. Well, there's lots of green in New Jersey. New York and New Jersey, once you get out of the cities, there's lots of lush green. So we're just going to come down a little bit, being mindful of our airspeed. So we don't overstress the aircraft as we descend at a rapid rate. And that's why you hardly hear the engines, because I am coming in pretty low. Now if I do that, and I give it another notch of flaps, you get the gear horn that lets you know, at 2 notches of flaps, you're pushing your luck. But if you look at our airspeed of, still about 170 knots, roughly, well, somewhere between 150 and 170. Because I'm talking about true airspeed as well, and ground speed. You want to be careful, because you can overstress this high-wing plane. It's not a fighter. It doesn't go Mach 2, it doesn't go Mach 1, it doesn't go 700 knots. And that's part of the art of flying. Much like a car, where if you had a car and you tried to go too fast and you push the car beyond its limits, the tires stop gripping the road, and, it's not a good thing. But in airplanes, it's an even worse thing. I mean, you can die in either one, but, it's just not good. So, and there's those lines. Got to solve those lines. So, you really want to watch your airspeed as you dive in, especially if you set the sim to the realism mode, because it will end your flight. So, That's why I cut back the throttle. And in this case, I changed the propeller pitch as well, which actually helps you control your airspeed. And again, it's just I had the throttle too far back, so this plane is coded to do that. And like I said, we're just coming in lower. And I just happen to notice that little windmill spinning off in the background. And even though the artifacting bothers me a little bit, there it is. Got a really cool animated windmill. As we're looking for an airport that's not too close. Well, not too far, sorry. It's actually pretty close. And we get a little bit of turbulence. See, there's the windmill, and it slows down the closer we get. Windmill. So, one of the fun things also about the Skymaster... Let's not stall her out. Bring her up above 140. And we did. We brought our flaps up. She really is a fun little plane. And just so you know, I've never landed at this airport before either. A little bit of extra turbulence in the sim lately that I've noticed. Hopefully they'll fix that. Or it could just really be turbulent out. Windy because it's winter. See, I told you, New Jersey's not all city. It's green and it's got water and take your boat. Or your float plane. And go fly around here. And then we're just, like I said, we're getting off the autopilot for today. And just kind of enjoying ourselves. Nice early morning on the East Coast using live weather and live players. Just not a whole lot of people that are interested in flying GA away from airports. I just don't see anybody. As I'm looking around, there's someone all the way out there. But it's also a standard work day for everybody else because Pony doesn't have standard work days. Not complaining. Not complaining one bit. So, lots of people who work Monday through Friday can't sim on these days. Because they're either asleep or getting ready for work, or they're at work, or, you know, whatever. If you guys are at work watching my videos, don't tell your boss. I don't want you guys to get fired. But live player mode can be fun. Speaking of which, I think we gotta get our Twitch videos going back again when we get a chance. Now that, to me, looks a lot like where we're supposed to land. Right. Well, let's just land there. And I'm not gonna call it in. Are we landing at Lakehurst? I don't think so. So, let's bring this little Skymaster down. Yeah. So one of the fun things about flying the Skymaster is trying not to hear that landing horn. With your gears up, as you lower your speed, so again, you gotta learn how to adjust your props. And not take it past a notch of flaps. Because this plane doesn't fly like a 172. And it doesn't land like a 172. Gears down, give us some drag. Yeah, we're on course. And we just watch our airspeed. We should be alright. But I definitely think that we need to start doing a live stream meetup again for you guys if anyone from the old group is also watching these videos, and just gotta dedicate a day and a time to being able to do live stream groups. Alright. It's just getting a little finicky as we're bringing the knots too low. Lots of bouncing. And maybe just give her 2 notch of flaps. Because I'm just trying to clear these trees at the end. I don't want to hit them. And I don't want to stall it. Because I'm also trying not to bounce. And a little bit of a floaty Cessna landing. On 1 gear. Alright. A little bit of a trick landing there. But there you have it. And you gotta love it that there's an F-22 Raptor sitting here. But, I mean, that's pretty much it. This is just a fun little GA plane. I love them. Really love this plane. And we're just going to bring her in and park her. That's pretty much it, everybody. I just thought I'd unmothball this plane. Just for a little while. And take her out for a spin. So, there you have it. Just a fun little New York to New Jersey East Coast flight. Really quick. And we'll just shut down both engines. And you know, I probably should have turned the landing light on. I'm really not being a good pilot. Oh, and I landed with the strobe lights on. Turn our magnetos off. Bring our flaps all the way up. Right. Alright, bring our flaps all the way up. And just kill everything. Fuel pumps are off. Everything else is off. Turn off our weather radar. You know, as if we were actually flying a plane. Alternator. Avionics. Power. And that should be it. And again, you know, fun little thing about this Coronado, Cessna is it's got cones and chocks, and you can open the baggage door and all that stuff. So sometimes you gotta love these little third-party planes with all their little gimmicks. Well, so you got all your remove before flight tags and your, you know, engine cowl plug so nothing makes a home in it. You got your little safety cones so you can kind of do your walk around. And that's pretty much it. Just doing an after flight check on it and making sure that, you know, we're not leaking little bits of oil here and there. And that's pretty much it. So, fun flight simming. Real quick, easy flight in the Skymaster. And we can just use the force from here, right? And close the door. And we're done. So, everybody, thank you for watching Derp Your Hooves. And I just wanted to say, if you like what you see, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And believe it or not, I'm actually thinking about putting out some merchandise if you guys are interested. Derp Your Hooves t-shirts with the pony logo. And I do have some stickers. So if you guys are interested in something like that, you know, go ahead and post it in the comments. And I might think about adding it to an online shop that I have so you guys can pick something like that up. And I just wanted to say again, thank you for watching Derp Your Hooves. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the skies.